Okay guys, today we're going to talk about service upgrades and future reservations. So one of the things I find extremely important whenever you're in the salon is regardless of what the ticket says. So let's say you have a guest, you get their name, you go introduce yourself, you bring them back to your station. Obviously you're going to look and see what service they're going to have performed. One thing I like to do is kind of to ignore that and ask a few questions first. So one of my questions that I like to ask is, if there's one thing about your hair that you could change, what would it be? Based on that response, if they're scheduled for just a haircut and they tell me they don't like their color, then I know it's a good opportunity for me to talk to them about maybe upgrading their service to a color service today. Also, just making sure you're using the right verbiage. If somebody asks specific questions about how their hair is laying or the way they're going to style it, that's your job then to probably use your experience menu to talk to them about possibly upgrading to a smoothing treatment if they're finding trouble with frizz or fuzz or anything like that. What I usually do is I have bullet points in my mind. If I talk to somebody and I'm going through the motions and I hear I want to see shine, or I hear that my hair feels dull or lifeless, those are bullet points I'm going to put in my mind so that I know then to respond with, that's great, I have something awesome you're going to love, we're going to slap it on the shampoo bowl, and it's going to really help improve shine. Coming from somewhere that's genuine and honest is going to get you a lot further. Not just making the sale because you feel like it's something that you need to do that day to make some extra money. Building rapport with your guests is so important. I can't stress it enough. People are going to trust you so much better along the line is if you plant that seed in the beginning. If it's your first time with that guest and they're talking to you probably about maybe wanting to chop all their hair off, or maybe in the summertime adding some highlights, that's a good opportunity for you to start talking to them about that. So their next appointment, they have a good idea of what's going to happen. And besides your experience menu, besides asking proper questions, another great thing to do is to use your take-home recommendation form. The take-home form is something that you're doing with every guest every time, and it's going to give you all the information that you need to respond properly or to give that guest exactly what they came into the salon for that day. And if I'm going through and I'm filling this out and they tell me they have medium coarse hair or they're looking for more softness, that's going to tell me what type of shampoos I'm going to use and what possible upgrades I can do for their service that day. And when it comes from a genuine place and when it comes from an environment that is truly to fit their needs, they're going to trust you. So later on down the line, when you've built that rapport with that guest and they're coming back, then you know that you're going to make a suggestion and that guest is going to absolutely do it because you've proven yourself to them and they trust you. So besides service upgrades, one other thing that we're going to talk about today is making a future reservation. In this world of ombres and balayages and baby lights and all those things, people like to go a little further in between their services. Just because they want to go further in between services doesn't mean that you still can't have that conversation with them about, the proper timing in between those services. So if I have somebody come in for an ombre, I know it's going to be a 3 to 6 month process as far as when they're going to come back. So that's a great time for you to maybe offer some other services in the meantime, such as a conditioning treatment to keep their hair looking shiny and healthy, even coming in for a clear coat of shine from the PM Shines line or from the Color XG. Those type of services are going to keep that guest coming into the salon regardless of getting an ombre or regardless of getting any other service. They're still going to come in because you make that recommendation and they trust you. Also, just, if they have an event coming up and it's coming up, you can schedule that appointment for them as far as just coming in for a blowout service. What I find successful in the salon is asking those people, what their routine is like during the consultation. Tell me about your style routine, tell me about your hair routine, tell me your hair story, so that I know what's typical and what's not typical of you as a guest coming into the salon. So whenever I'm going to be talking about a future reservation, that's where I'm going to really not even give them the option. When I get that guest in my chair and I check my guest folio and I see that guest was in every 6 weeks, they come in every 6 weeks, I already know by the end of that service, because while their color was processing, I'm going to check and see what 6 weeks is, and I'm going to come right back and say, we offer complimentary rebooking services here, and you get 10% off as well. So let's go get you rescheduled, go through your 2-minute plan, and it's really a fail-safe every time if you just book it for them.